It is the summer of 2026, and across the United States, the sky is lighting up for the Freedom 250 celebrations. The country is projecting a unified, powerful front to the world. We are marking exactly 2.5 centuries since the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. That original document was a messy, heavily edited piece of early American statecraft, calculating a risky path forward. This chart shows global supply chain stability metrics. While the domestic mood is stresstive, international trade is precarious. The Federal Reserve is actively wrestling with stubborn inflation, and the World Trade Organization is flashing warnings as the stability line crosses a dangerous threshold. Underneath all the patriotic fireworks, the modern American economy is highly exposed. If the international trade networks that supply our goods and energy face a sudden disruption, the domestic celebration could come to a very abrupt halt. That disruption arrives with a bright flash in the Middle East. The drone strikes a commercial cargo ship in the dead of night, instantly breaking a fragile regional ceasefire. The strike happens here, in the Strait of Hormuz. This geographic bottleneck is only 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, yet a massive percentage of the world's daily oil supply is forced to flow right through it. A military threat in this corridor functions as a direct assault on the global energy market, turning a local incident into an immediate international crisis that demands a response. We are looking at a classic example of asymmetric warfare. Iran deploys inexpensive, disposable drones to harass multi-million-dollar commercial shipping operations. It allows them to apply severe pressure on Western economies while avoiding a full-scale conventional war. The U.S. response is immediate. President Trump orders targeted kinetic strikes, directing the military to hit Iranian missile, drone, and coastal radar facilities. This rapid deployment of force is enabled by a recent Supreme Court ruling. By significantly expanding the scope of presidential authority, the executive branch can bypass prolonged domestic debate and act immediately. The military objective here is highly calculated. The U.S. isn't trying to conquer territory or provoke a broader war. They have a narrow goal: re-establish deterrence by proving the cost of attacking commercial ships is too high. This precise, violent application of force is the first half of a highly choreographed escalation loop. The intention is to deliver a sharp shock to the system and force a return to the status quo. At the exact same time the military acts, the U.S. deploys economic statecraft. The administration pairs the physical strikes with an aggressive push for global tariffs. These tariffs are wielded as economic weapons. By cutting off access to markets, the U.S. applies crushing leverage to the adversary's economy, synchronizing financial pressure with military force. Almost immediately after the strikes and sanctions hit, the posture changes. U.S. and Iranian officials sit down for indirect diplomatic talks in Switzerland and Doha. Going from launching cruise missiles to closed-door meetings in hours might look contradictory. In reality, it is the exact intended outcome of the entire cycle. Missiles and tariffs are the harsh tools to force an adversary to negotiate. The U.S. escalates the conflict quickly so it can dictate the terms of peace from a position of overwhelming strength. The immediate result of this escalation is a fragile new ceasefire in the Strait of Hormuz. But the illusion that global commerce operates independently of military conflict is completely shattered. We are looking at a map of global shipping routes, which visualizes the mechanics of geoeconomic warfare. Conflicts now center on trade arteries rather than territorial expansion. Because our supply chains are entirely interconnected, a kinetic strike on a commercial vessel halfway across the world registers as a direct hit on the U.S. domestic economy. To keep goods flowing, global trade institutions like the WTO have to navigate this highly militarized landscape, managing the fallout when geopolitical tensions spill into the shipping lanes. 250 years ago, early American defense relied heavily on wooden tall ships and localized militias. The requirements of maintaining a superpower have evolved drastically since the signing of the Declaration. Today, maintaining that dominance relies entirely on mastering these high-wire escalation loops. The U.S. has to coordinate tariffs, employ advanced technology, and targeted strikes with absolute precision, asserting its strength without accidentally collapsing the fragile global system we all depend on.